Hello, everybody, and welcome to Riftbound Ramblings. I'm your host, Barrett, and today we are still playing catch up. We are going over the Chaos Domain. Now, most of these cards, as I've kind of forgotten to reiterate, are mainly from the trial deck or the demo experience, but there are quite a few cards still that have been given to us in the large dump that happened on June 9th. And after these videos from today, we'll be officially caught up on all of the cards in the card gallery. So without further ado, let's dive in. Kicking things off, we have the Cemetery Attendant, which is a 3 energy, 1 power, 3 might Shadow Isles dog unit that says when you play me, return a unit from your trash to your hand. And I've got to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that they put an ability like this on a common, and he only costs 3 energy, so he can be played pretty early. Obviously, this gets better return value the later you play it, because it allows you to get any unit that was removed on an earlier turn, and it doesn't limit, you're allowed to pick up champion units with this. Recursion in other card games is honestly very, very strong, and it always has been. So I went ahead and gave this a challenger rating because I think this guy is going to be very good. And I mean, look at him, look at this little guy. He looks great. He's going to be very good, and obviously has great synergy with things like Jinx, discard decks. If you have to discard very impactful cards now to get your effects and make a tempo, Cemetery Attendant allows you to get those back later. Moving on, we've got Gust, which is a 1 energy spell that you can play basically at any time as a reaction or whenever you want to return a unit at a battlefield with 3 might or less to its owner's hand. And this is another one. I think this is pretty well costed for its timing, even with the limitation that it's getting. Because there are impactful cards that people are going to be playing that have 3 might or less. Early on in the game, I think a couple of these feels really good, and it can be enough for you to win and swing, confrontations with your opponents during a showdown is really how I should word it. Because if you bounce them back to their hand, it could be the reason why you take over a battlefield. I went ahead and gave this a challenger rating because this one doesn't cost power, and there are impactful champion units like Vi, Heimerdinger, and Caitlyn that people I think are going to be playing, and this one just returns it back to their hand. Moving on, and another bounce spell is going to be Rebuke, which is a 2 energy, 2 power spell. This one as an action can be played, so to your turn or in showdowns, and it says return a unit at a battlefield to its owner hand. And I did forget to bring this up on the last one, but you are allowed to bounce your own units if you wanted to do that. It just says a unit and owner's hand, and so does the last one. And the more and more that I think about these spells, I do think they are going to be incredibly good. Like, they are essentially removal for when it matters. And that's why it costs 2 power, right? Like, this is really, really good. And I am kind of regretting the rating that I gave this one. I put Diamond on the slide. Honestly, because this one bounces anything, and this can be the reason why you win a battlefield when you're at 6 or 7 points when you're trying to win the game. I honestly think it is probably better than Diamond rating. I genuinely think it is, and it is going to be very good, and it is going to be a reason why people want to maybe play Chaos. Moving on, we've got the Stealthy Pursuer, which is a 4 energy, 1 power, 4 might Shurima unit. That says when a friendly unit moves from my location, I may be moved with it. I I really like this card. I don't think it's anything crazy. I don't think it's anything to build your deck around, of course, but I think a couple of these in a deck feels nice. You're like, man, I really need to make a more impactful attempt at a battlefield this turn. This doesn't have accelerate or it can't attack right away, but it basically can come with. So I do think it's playable. I gave it a diamond rating. I think it's pretty good. Because if you already have a unit that you played the turn before, this is essentially a 4 might buff to that unit. If you play this and then you move it from your base, or you move the unit you were going to attack with, you move it from your base to the battlefield, the Stealthy Pursuer can come with it. And then, whether you want to move a different unit back to your base, or it has ganking and you want to go to another battlefield, again, the Stealthy Pursuer can come with it. So I think this card's actually pretty good, and it's sneakily, in a funny way, stealthily going to be quite a pretty good card. Moving on, we've got the Undercover Agent, which is a 5 energy, 1 power, 5 might unit with no other tags, which is kind of weird. But it has Death Knell, so when it dies, you discard 2 cards and then you draw 2. So we kind of already have a card like this, and it's in Fury. It's the Scrapyard Champion. Now that one is with Legion and it's on play. Undercover Agent is on Death. And I didn't bring this up when I talked about the Scrapyard Champion, but I'm going to bring it up now. I already thought that the Scrapyard Champion was fine because it's at least proactive, and the Undercover Agent isn't proactive. It is at the mercy of waiting another turn until it can attack, or it's at the mercy of your opponent dealing with it. But I only think, unless you're playing Jinx, which of course you can play both of these in Jinx, unless you're playing like a Jinx type deck, I don't think these are very. I don't think they're that good. But if you have 0 cards in your hand, it does just say draw 2, and that is honestly probably the only saving grace I have for these units, which might be enough to change my mind. Someone's gonna play it against me because I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna play these. But someone's going to play it against me, and they're going to draw 2 cards without having to discard anything, and I'm going to go, wow, that was really cool, and I will officially change my mind in my head about what rating this is. But until then, I don't know if these are ever going to make the cut in my deck. I just don't know if they do enough. And I especially don't think Undercover Agent is, because that one is based upon what your opponent is going to do to it at a quicker pace than things like Scrapyard Champion, even with the Legion requirement. Moving on, we've got Pack of Wonders, which is a 2 energy gear that says exhaust this, return another friendly gear unit or hidden card to its owner's hand. I talked about this a little bit when we went over the Heimerdinger reveal, and I think this card's pretty good. I like it because it only costs 2 energy, and this is a self way to bounce a unit of yours or any kind of card. Like your opponent, like I even think like the Teemo decks are gonna love this, right? You took over a battlefield, you put a couple hidden cards down, or you put a hidden card down somewhere, and your rival or your opponent makes a really impactful play, and they're like, well, I'm gonna take over this battlefield that you have, and you go, yikes, the hidden card that I put down is not gonna save me here. I don't want to just lose it, because if you lose the battlefield, you lose the hidden card. But you don't want to use it either. I want it back. Or, in the other scenario, I really need this unit. It's going to help me out later. It's like the last one in my deck, and it's going to help me make an impactful play next turn. This gear's pretty good because it's reusable, and you're always going to have access to it. So I think the card's fine. I don't think it's going to be like top tier or anything, but I do think people are going to consider playing this depending on what the format looks like. So I give it a diamond tier. Moving on, we've got the Traveling Merchant, which is a 2 energy, 2 might Bilgewater unit that says, when I move, discard 1 and then draw 1. Cycling cards is good enough. In a game like this that doesn't have a tremendous amount of draw power, the fact that this is, when you decide you want to do it, it's extra draw, like cycle draw. Obviously, it has direct synergy with characters like Jinx and discard decks. But for a 2 energy, 2 might unit that also has an extra effect to it, it's honestly pretty good. So another diamond rating for this guy. He looks kind of cool. He was kind of cute. So I like this one. Moving on, we've got Whirlwind, which is a 4 energy, 1 power spell that says, starting with the next player, each player may return a unit to its owner's hand. So I think this is a fun card, because in the 4-player experience of Riftbound, it's going to be really cool for you to play this, and all of the other 3 people at the table have to make the decision if they want to bounce any person's stuff before you get to make the decision if you want to bounce anything. Now, obviously, this works incredibly well when you don't have anything to be bouncing because you're already behind in tempo, And for only 4 energy, like, it means you can probably play something after this to, like, regain the tempo of the board, but it's not going to be with a big guy. And again, but in competitive play or like in 1v1, I don't think it's going to be very good. But I'm not going to sit here and criticize the fun cards. So I am going to give it a gold rating. I think it'll be cool and interesting. And I think it has potential in that same kind of scenario in the 1v1 of like, I have nothing, you like played a board wipe and then you tried to reestablish your board and then you play this. And so maybe it works out. Moving on, we've got the Chaos Domain Champion unit for Kain, which is a 6 energy, 1 power, 6 might Ionian Kain champion unit that has ganking. And it says, if I have moved twice this turn, I do not take damage. If he has moved twice this turn. Now, ganking does not help him move twice. You need things that can ready him or force him to move. So I obviously think this is like a Yasuo character. This is a champion unit that you want to be putting in your Yasuo deck because of the legend ability and also being able to play signature spells like Last Breath. This is ready a friendly unit, and then it immediately is going to hit something, so then it feels pretty good about you going somewhere else. But because Kain has ganking, it feels a lot better once you get him rolling on the battlefields. There's also kind of like a sneak peek that Kain might have to do, like the Kain legend that we might get in the future. Well, one is going to have chaos, and two is going to be all about moving between moving between locations and battlefields in the base, kind of how Yasuo does. And I think that's pretty good. And I think I love Yasuo. Yasuo is one of my favorite legends in the game, even for like the demo or trial deck experience. So I think Kain is going to be challenger level. I think this is going to be an impactful card to be putting in the Yasuo decks, and at least currently in the reveals, there's not a lot of other ways to move Kain exclusively on Chaos. So but I do think he's going to be quite good. Moving on, we've got the Maddened Marauder, which is a 5 energy, 4 might Bilgewater Pirate unit that has tank, and it says when you play me, move a unit from a battlefield to its base. I think this is pretty good. I think, first of all, 5 energy with no power cost for an on-play ability like this, which is why it only has 4 might, and even with the tank stats. I think this ability is enough to win games on this little rare guy. Because if you're playing against like a big ramp deck and they've got a giant, Lee Sin or Volibear or something, this little 5-drop that you slam on the board moves that giant unit back to their base. Because you don't you can pick anything. You can also pick one of your own units. Let's say you have a guy already on a battlefield. The beginning of your turn starts, you already scored off of that battlefield. You're like, man, if I can just take over this other battlefield, I think I can win the game. But my unit is stuck in this other lane. If I play Madden Marauder, I can bring that unit back to my base, and then because I didn't move it from itself, I didn't tap it, I didn't exhaust it, you can then move it and have it ready to go to the other battlefield. So I think this is going to be a very good card for Chaos. I think it is going to help do the weird tricks and maneuvering for this domain to win games and be very impactful in the format. So I gave it a challenger rating because I think it's going to be quite good. Moving on, we've got Possession, which is an 8 energy, 3 power spell. It's an action, so you play on your turn or in showdowns, and it says choose an enemy unit at a battlefield, take control of it, and recall it, which means you bring it to your base. Wow, I think obviously this is an epic card, so it's one of the highest rarity ones you can get aside from like the alt arts, the overnumbered cards. So obviously this is a good card. I'm not gonna say that it's not a good card, and that's even with it costing 8 energy and for you to recycle 3 of those runes back. But in the similar sense that we just talked about with the Madden Marauder, this can win you games, especially because you take control of it and it's yours. Like, it does not say until the end of turn. It does not say whatever else. It's your unit. This is removal plus, right? It's removal plus more, because if it is a crazy unit like all the ones I just listed before, yes, Madden Marauder is just an answer to those things as well. But possession says, hey, I can't deal with that, but can you? I think it's good, but it is very, very highly costed. So I didn't give it Challenger. I didn't give it anything higher, but I do think it's good enough to put maybe one or two of these as a late game push for Chaos decks. So I did give it a diamond rating. Moving on, we've got the Seal of Discord. Let's call it Discorder. And this is, of course, the Chaos Seal. I already have my opinions pretty much given on all of these. And in a similar sense, just as what we saw with kind of the other cards during this video, there are quite a few power costs on these cards. And it is pretty impactful because this is not a ramp domain. So you're probably going to want these if you want to keep your runes a little healthy. And so I'm going to go ahead and give it the Challenger rating. That being said, that's it for Chaos. We've already seen most of the other cards so far that have been given to us. So if you like what you see, like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel so you know when more videos come out for more Riftbound news. And thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.